Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact. We have all of the Bad Boys here with us, and we thank everybody for being with us. If you're live, we do have the live video comments going on, so if you want to throw in any comments, feel free to do that. And if you're listening to the podcast, we hope you enjoy. This is our 3 count. Let's get right to it. Our first one comes from both WrestlingNews.co and from RingsideNews.com. On WrestlingNews.co, it is titled, Paige will not comply with WWE's mandate to end her Twitch channel. Now, as we know, several WWE stars have been forced to pull their Twitch streams in the last couple of days. But during a live stream on Saturday, Paige said that she would continue to stream because it's good for her health. She previously noted that the Twitch community helps her during a time when she's not able to go on the road because she's no longer wrestling because of her neck issues and because of the pandemic. And she also noted that a new website that was in the works has been delayed and she didn't want to add more fuel to the fire. At the same time, Ringside News have mentioned that Andrew Yang has said that if Joe Biden wins the U.S. presidential election, then he will have something to do about this entire situation. He's a huge pro wrestling fan, and as a former U.S. Democratic presidential candidate, he knows some powerful people. And by the way, there are also some folks saying that they have reached out to Andrew Yang about this that are in the company. So no names has been named. Of course, that comes from our good friend, Dave Meltzer. All right. Guys, what's your take on this? Paige says, hey, I'm going to continue this because it's good for my health. First question out there, is this a smart move for Paige?
Nope. We cover it on the show all the time. WWE's got the best lawyers. You are an employee of WWE, and it's spelled out really well in that contract what this is going to look like. And, you know, they mentioned, you know, that there was a meeting earlier this week with like some of the talent and events, and we don't know how that went. It's all speculation. Mm-hmm. But I must say that ultimately, once the old man's got it in his head, you know, I don't see a way that she can continue unless he gives it the blessing. And it didn't sound like he was giving anybody a pass on this. AJ also said on his Twitch stream that he's going to stop for a while. So, you know, you will fall in line is what it sounds like to me. There's no way she'll be able to fight this, you know, in court. I mean, she's under contract.
I think she can fight it, but at what cost?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing she got to ask herself. I mean, does she have resources to be a successful streamer? Yes. I mean, her partner or boyfriend, however the terminologies of where they're at, he's a very successful streamer. I mean, you have a lot of people who are now, you know, take for instance, Logic. Logic retired from the rap game, and he's a full-time streamer right now. So, I mean, you can make some money, and it all depends on how much resources you can pour into it. She got enough to where she can pour into it, and she met the right people, obviously, through who she's with in a relationship, to where she could do good. I think that if the time's now to fight it, if she has enough gumption to go against the nice ironclad lawyers at WWE, cool. But she's not going to walk away with a dub without losing something in the pocketbook or losing something to her name and what she can put on her Twitch channel as far as anything in the likeness of what WWE has already built up. So, I mean, that's where I see with this article. It sucks, a bad situation for her, because I actually do follow her channel, and it's entertaining. I mean, not just because she's wearing revealing shirts and show her boobies everywhere, but she actually genuinely is pleasant on the stream, and she's pretty okay with video games.
Sin City, this hypothetically, right? I mean, she's pretty much challenging what's happening right now. Just what if WWE doesn't do anything about this? You know, they just quietly let her continue to run her Twitch page. What do you think could come out of that if that did happen?
Continuity, brother. continuity. It's something that, that I hold near and dear. From your storylines to your treatment of your employees. If they let her continue to do everything as is, then you have to look at it from the perspective of someone else on the roster, like an AJ Styles. AJ Styles was actually getting paid an exclusive contract from Mixer to be on their streaming platform for the longest time before they went under. Yeah. So, AJ Styles has those endorsement deals. He has those contracts. And it's one of those things that, if they're going to let somebody else get by with it, then that leaves the door wide open for anybody else to feel that there's an exception. So it has to be an all or nothing kind of a thing. I do not support this initiative by WWE whatsoever. I think that I think it's horrible. These guys are out there on the road 300 days a year, breaking their neck for you, in Paige's case, twice. The least that you can do is, let them make a couple of bucks on the side. So what if they don't ever mention their WWE name? Okay. If Paige wants to go by Saraya, that's fine. Whatever. Come on, man. Like, it's ridiculous at this point. Yeah. I do think that they're definitely, regardless of who wins the election in November, Andrew Yang had mentioned that he would only do this if Joe Biden wins the presidency. Regardless of whoever wins the election, I think that it's something that needs to be looked at. And I definitely have an issue with WWE's independent contracts clause in their contracts.
Let's dig deeper in that, Matt Michaels, if you don't mind. Let's just say that Joe Biden wins the presidency. Do you believe that Andrew Yang could get things to change under his administration so that this can work out properly for the talent of WWE and probably other wrestlers as well for other companies?
Well, it would have to be comprehensive. So it wouldn't.
Wait, say that one more time.
It would have to be comprehensive.
Gotcha.
So it wouldn't just be the WWE.
Yes.
Because basically what you have to do is look at closing the loophole that they've been able to use. And that is that these guys they're sports athletes, but at the same time, they're entertainers. And the reason the word entertainment was added to sports was because Vince didn't want to pay the commissioners, in the 80s and the 90s. So what you're dealing with here is basically that loophole. They'd have to figure out how to close that. I've thought it for years, being someone who's been a member of SAG. There's no reason that these guys who are legitimately being handed scripts, by the way, that's a whole thing that's kind of, back in my day type of thing where, a wrestler could come out and he cut his own promo and blah, blah, blah. Well, now it's a television production. And that's simply what they are. They also call themselves World Wrestling Entertainment, and they make movies.
Right.
he's on a thin string right now. He's grasping, to hold on to, everything that he can. Regardless of anything, when Vince McMahon passes away, it might not be something that they're going to fight as hard to keep in place. Okay. You might see, especially with someone like Hunter being able to, whisper in the ear, being a wrestler himself. It's that type of thing. The only thing I can say now is, if you are someone who believes that the wrestlers should have a chance to not be forced into this independent contracting anymore, then obviously you have to vote for Joe Biden. There you go. Vote for Biden if you care about wrestlers.
You know what's also funny too that I find interesting is Vince is all in a tizzy about these people with Twitch accounts, right? So streaming, as we know, has increasingly everybody got a streaming channel now since COVID, right? And everybody's been quarantined. Those numbers may not reflect the future of streaming in large part for a lot of these people. So a lot of these people he's worried about. You had mentioned AJ Styles, right? So AJ Styles is an exception because he was finding the time to maintain that mixer contract, right? Even when he was on the road. But that's not from what I found, and maybe Sin City Steve could attest to, that's not the normal case, because the high time when you want to stream is during the day, based on wherever you're at, country-wise, obviously, you want to do it during the day. So most of these guys are probably sleeping in a hotel or, from being on the road or whenever call time, if it's the day of an event. You get what I'm saying? They wouldn't be able to put as much time into the art of streaming like regular people who stream as a regular job and a source of income. So that's why I'm wondering, like, once COVID kind of gets, dies down, whenever that is, and things return back to normal, Vince is not going to be all worried about this bone, and he's going to pass on. And then that's when everybody going to have their streaming channels.
Yeah, but you're missing one key factor.
Mm-hmm.
How much money does Vince see from this?
From fighting it?
No. How much money does he see from the wrestlers right now?
None right now. Yeah, that's what you said. He's grasping straws. I mean, all companies are. All companies right now are trying to save as much and where they can, because they've lost a lot.
That has nothing to do with anything.
There's nothing to do with it.
No. The fact of the matter is that if they were still, let's say they were making $1 billion fucking dollars a year, Vince McMahon is not getting a cut of that money, and he still wants a cut because the superstars he's putting on television are making money from the name they've established on his television show. That's what this comes down to.
I just don't see it being that big, though, if it wasn't because of the situation of COVID. That's just my opinion. I honestly feel like it wouldn't be as big of a deal.
So you're making a great point, Simon, and that's the thing is that's why we're seeing such a rise in YouTube content and Twitch content, and all these people are streaming now because people are working from home, people are quarantining, whatever kind of terminology that you want to use. People are in their homes more now than ever. And for better or worse, it's one of those things that has, there's been a spotlight cast on it for that reason. And by the way, Michael's nice job on that little, on that nice little swipe there. So.
It wasn't a swipe. It wasn't a swipe.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, that'll be our first count there. We'll see what happened to Paige there. Hey, she said this is for her health, and we talked about that earlier. I mean, I don't know how truthful that is, but it could be.
Real quick, I hate to interrupt, but that could be her stipulating that it's for her health. Could very well be the only way out that she has. She may be, looking for loopholes on her own in the contract. Which if she's doing that and everything is completely legit, cool.
Yeah. She just got to go get the doctor's note. So always good. Go get the doctor's note.
And let's face it too. The fact of the matter is that Paige, it's Paige. It's not like you're talking about Roman Reigns,
right,
or a face of your company like that. It's Paige. She's also got illegally leaked sex tapes out there. So the thing is that Vince could have easily just fired her right then and there.
Yeah.
For that happening.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So, as frustrated as you might feel sometimes, you also have to look at the good and the bad. And one of the positives of this is that not only did Paige get to be a household name and get to do what she loved to do, she also got a chance to have a movie made about her, journey into pro wrestling. So the truth of the matter is that as much as you want to look at Vince McMahon as being this evil money grubbing person, which, he's a businessman, of course, he's an evil money grubbing person. At the same time, his mechanism is what makes these people relevant.
Right.
And that's that. Who the fuck would watch her on her Twitch channel outside of, Rome?
Watch a lot of people's Twitch channels.
Exactly.
All right. Here we go.
First of all, there's a lot of people who watch Twitch channels because they offer more than just people playing video games. A lot of it is streaming content, podcasts. Our podcast is on Twitch. So it's gotten way bigger than its inception.
What I'm saying is that if she wasn't a WWE superstar, if she hadn't made her name in the wrestling business, if Vince McMahon hadn't put that money behind her, she would be just as relevant as us being on Twitch.
For the masses, yes. For me, no, because it all depends on what game she's playing. I'm just being honest with you, because people that are nobodies that probably have at best 100 followers or 100 subscriptions, whatever. And I watch them because I find them entertaining. But again, I'm pretty sure I'm not a proper representation of the larger masses.
Well, look, I guess we're on Twitch. Apparently, from what Simon's saying, for us to get our numbers up, we're going to start playing video games on Twitch. So guys, start looking out for your Vegas Bad Boys playing video games on Twitch.
Among Us. Seriously.
I'm telling you, Among Us.
Seriously, we got to play the game Among Us. All five of us, at least
and
one.
it's cheap. It's cheap.
$5.
Okay. All right. We got to look into that. Let's go right into our second count, which is from Ringside News. It is titled, Interesting Note on AEW Full Gear Tickets Not Selling Out. Now, All Elite Wrestling, their pay-per-view events sold out in record time prior to the pandemic. We all are aware of this. But it was noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that AEW has, quote, burned out, end quote, the Jacksonville market. And there are just under 100 tickets available as of last night. And but he says, hey, look, they will sell out Full Gear. But the fact that tickets weren't immediately snatched up, it's certainly a sign that there are some things getting in the way of AEW fans attending the shows. So I don't know. I mean, do y'all think that's a fair assessment right now? Because we talked about on Wrestling Talk as well that, AEW hasn't been, having that, what's that word, that continuity on the show. I mean, maybe that could be a little bit of the reason. Sure, could be the Jacksonville market. It could be people really don't have the funds, although I think the tickets are a lot less.
They're very affordable.
So I don't know, guys. You tell me, what's your just out of curiosity?
So,
you have, yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, man. So I'm going to jump in first on this one. So as I'm looking at the Ticketmaster site right now, so as of the time and date of this recording, there are still several tickets available for Full Gear. Okay. The thing that jumps out to me is you've got the kind of the second deck area. Now, the way that it works is they're selling them in groups or clusters of 2, 4, and 6. So hypothetically speaking, let's say that you are one person. You want to go to Full Gear. You can't unless you buy a second ticket. And then in which case, are you going to sell that second ticket on StubHub or some other venue? It is a lot of legwork, but for those upper deck tickets, as I'm looking right here, they are, it is, excuse me. So going into here, they're what, 90, no, excuse me, close to $200 a ticket for this cluster. And like I said, that was in kind of the club level, upper deck seating.
400 a pair.
400 a pair.
Yikes.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And so, $200 a ticket, with all due respect, King Lucky, I know that the funds situation over there in the kingdom is extremely good and you have an amazing economy, but I don't necessarily come from a location in which $200 a ticket is quote unquote very affordable.
I'll be honest with you. If I was in Jacksonville, I'd want to go, right?
Of course.
But I don't know how feasible it is. Like, I couldn't call up a friend and say, or buy an extra ticket just with the hopes that somebody's going to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'd want to go. I'm watching the programming. This match looks good, but then I don't like the way they did this person, so I don't, I guess I can understand why, if you look at the pricing, then you might have a problem selling those tickets. And I think what you're going to have is you're probably going to have some cuts on those tickets, a 2-for-1 or whatever, just to get the people in there.
So the thing to keep in mind is, I think that we're missing the bigger thing with this is how it's going to be in arenas, because the arenas have to quote unquote socially distance and separate people. Yeah. And we hypothesized this, back at the beginning of the pandemic. Well, what's going to happen with events? Are they just going to, jack up the event ticket prices because they still have to pay the rent on those buildings? And I think that with this, the answer is a resounding yes. So be prepared, Lucky. I know that you're all dead set on going to Mania next year. Typically if you pay $500 for your ticket, well, you're probably going to be paying closer to $1,000 for that same ticket.
And let's jump right over it. Let me go over to you, Matt Michaels, right quick. Speaking of that, do you just think also could play? I know the pricing, there's a little bit more because they're selling now these tickets in pair, but is there also maybe a chance of people just also not ready to attend live events at the moment? You think that could play a role as well?
I think that they hit on it in the article, and that is that you are taping at one place and that's it. I mean, who's getting on an airplane and traveling for, a taping of the show or even a pay-per-view if it's at the same facility and you've already worn out that local base? Listen, with TNA, when they were doing the tapings in Florida, one of the things that TNA bit themselves in the ass with was the idea of expanding out and going to large arenas and trying to do house shows and pay-per-views from different places around the country. Mm-hmm. That bit them on the ass. That really hurt them. And that's one of the reasons that the product started going downhill. But one of the reasons they did it is because they were starting to feel that the audience that they were getting was just the same audience in the arena all the time, which helped them. Okay. Here, you have almost the opposite effect. It was something that people around this country wanted to see in their hometown. But because of COVID, now they've been relegated just to Florida. So it's that reverse process. Now you have to boost up your prices. You have to try to get an audience to come at a higher price to a product that they've probably already come and seen in person. Mm-hmm. And we also don't know what their actual experience has been going to these events.
Right.
So there's a lot of unknowns. The other thing too is, quite honestly, I don't know if it's just the idea of being around people. Let's face it, it's Florida. So a lot of the stuff's open already anyway. People are without masks, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not that much of a shock to those people who live there and will go do this anyway. I think more so is that you don't really have an open way to get there. You either have to, drive down from a city, another state, maybe driving down from Georgia.
Yeah.
Flying there. Now all of a sudden you're putting in a lot of fucking money to just, see one pay-per-view, a taping. Here's what bugs me about this the most, though.
Yeah.
You're talking about a company that the money that's coming into this company is from a very wealthy source. Okay.
Yeah.
So what the articles kind of are doing, any kind of talk about this comes down to making it seem like this is a desperation thing. Like, oh boy, they need these crowds. What are they going to do without it? Also, it also is misleading in the sense that by putting that out there, it makes it seem like AEW is losing its popularity. That is total bullshit and irresponsible reporting, because these are just the facts of what it is. Of course, they're not going to be selling as much. And of course, many people are not going to be going, because we're in a different fucking phase of life. So relax for now. When Tony Khan starts bouncing checks, then you might want to be.
Let me ask you, Simon Street, just out of fun, right? So let's say Mania is going to happen in LA, and tickets end up going on sale and they're reasonably priced. And this is happening in, I guess, March, April, next year, April, I guess. Would that be something you would be interested in attending?
Nope. Equivocally, no. Not at all.
Do you want to give a little bit of info on why?
I think the biggest reason is right now, surprisingly enough for me, I think where the product's at in this COVID time is the best product that we're going to get. I think you're trying to do live shows. I don't think that's something that's immediately going to gather as much interest. I think you can get diehard people who will spend that money for a ticket, but because of the spacing, I feel like that even though you're going to make money off of it, obviously for ticket sales and for the venue and for what WWE would get, I still feel like as far as the product, I think it would ruin it if they rushed it out. That's just my opinion. I just feel like it wouldn't be as good as a product as what we're getting right now, again, based on this time frame. And I wouldn't want to take the chance of spending that much bread to go to that. And I'd rather watch, Braun Strowman and Nikki win the tag team titles 4 times more. I'd rather pay for that ticket than to pay for a ticket like that and take that risk.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh, here we go.
Explain to me though. No, seriously, I don't understand your logic on this. So you say right now you have the best product going on. Okay. How does an audience being there affect what they're doing product-wise?
I think that WWE is going to overthink it with having people there, and they're going to try to change things up to accommodate how the product's going to be doled out. That's just my opinion. I just think that they're going to overthink it and they're going to ruin it. I think what we got now, I did.
But they already have done that with Thunderdome.
That's what I'm saying. How do you reverse Thunderdome and then have it to where you go from Thunderdome, where that is now, and then you go to live crowds with it being sectioned off? I call them pods. So like a certain amount of people you can have in a pod, I feel like that's going to ruin the experience for a person buying the ticket. Maybe not a hardcore fan. I think a hardcore fan would spend money regardless. They don't give a shit.
I think that enhances the experience. If it wasn't for, possibly catching a virus, I personally do not like being around other people. And I think that having seats where I don't have to be sitting next to, another, 500-pound sweaty guy.
Yeah, your thigh touching.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Well, I mean, I hear you on that one, but for me, going to live events, I like the whole crowd experience. I like the beforehand, everybody's lined up, ready to go in. I feel like that's an experience that.
So you like standing in line?
I actually do. Hey, again, maybe no. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been like that for everything to wrestling events, video game releases, concerts. I'm the weirdo that enjoys the anticipation, talking to other people that's in line. I mean, again, that's something that's for me. Again, I probably don't even closely represent like less than 1% of a percent.
Listen, I'm sure there are people like that. I never used to understood that before, let's say on Black Friday sales, someone is camping out at a Best Buy a week before, and as it gets closer to the day, the line just continues to grow. So there are people that just, I guess, like to be a part of certain situations. So I guess I get that.
I just don't trust WWE enough. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't trust them enough. I don't. And especially,
well, it's not so much them; it's the people who attends the shows in that particular area.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You also just flipped it to WWE. The main question, Simon, is: would you go pay to see AEW for the extreme prices that they're charging?
Nope. I would spend for a seat like that. I would spend $100, maybe even $150, maybe, and that's if what's on the card is decent. And I'm not saying it has to be great, but decent. I would spend $150, but I'm not spending $200 a pop.
Really? But you get a nice debate.
Well, if that's the case, I'd rather attend these past debates we've had for our presidential election.
Oh my God!
Because I'll pay for a shitstorm.
Let's jump right over it.
Or shit show. I'm sorry, for a shit show.
Our third topic.
It's totally different.
That's what they wish they had in the presidential debates.
Our third topic comes from BleacherReport.com, titled 4 Steps to Fix Failing Retribution Storyline on WWE RAW.
This is the one I liked.
So this one here, our writer here gives 4 steps, and I'm going to read them right quick, that may help them, and we'll talk about these and see if these are going to help. First one, how about win some matches? Second one, how about make the group less overtly heel? How about third one, ditch the mask? And the last one, how about add at least one more woman?
They did, and it took her away.
Okay, guys, this is going to fix Retribution issues according to the author here. What do you guys take? I mean, do you agree that these 4 steps will help Retribution, or do you just think it's a wrap? Let's go.
Well, it's definitely a wrap, but at least let them win some matches. That would be the thing that I would probably, if I was booking this, we talked about it last week and probably a couple other weeks, but if you take the mask off and you've already jobbed these people out, if you then take the mask off, you fuck these people's career, I mean, obviously not for the lifetime, but, in the short-term future, it's all stinky. Yeah, that's really where I would start. I would start with letting them win some matches. They also pointed out in the article, and I said this a while ago, when they had 2 teams fall out on a pay-per-view, and I was like, well, they should just have Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez win the belts. Spark something, kick them into high gear some kind of way. But right now, why do you even care about Retribution?
We need someone who can go back and find all these alleged places where you said that.
Find it. It's there. I did say, Steve, do you remember that? when I said that they should win the tag team titles?
I don't remember it, man. To be 100.
Here we go. Everybody's against the king, but you know what? The king is right, baby. And whoever watches the show, you guys know I said it too.
You sound like somebody that got their own furniture or mattress store.
Hey.
Like the commercial.
Simon Street, make the group less overtly heel. What's your take? You think that'll help them out?
I want to say yes to a certain degree, but I think the problem is make them more human. Like I said last week, them fucking being these super villain from comic books bullshit is old and tired. Make them human. Retribution means to seek vengeance on somebody for a crime committed against you. And I hear what Ali is saying all the time, but I don't really hear, or am I convinced from this group what has been done to them. I know Mia Yim had a couple promos, a couple times, and she took a stab at it and it fell really short. But I feel like I don't want to give away because you're asking question by question, but part of them being overly heel is the freaking masks. It's stupid. We know who the hell most of them are, except for you didn't know last week.
I mean, if you want to speak on the mask, if you think that's the issue, you can talk on it. It's all right.
I think it goes hand in hand. I think the mask should have only been for the purpose of when they were turning off the fucking lights like a little 4-year-old brat, you know what I'm saying, and pissing off everybody. They wanted to conceal their identity. That time has passed. You can't turn the lights off no more. They took that shit away from you. Now what? You got a mask. What does that do for you? It does shit for you. Your concealed identity does nothing for the characters, nothing for the faction. There's nothing for it. And we know Matt Michaels going to say, well, it's only to serve so that, the freaking big bad hurt business can, have somebody to beat up on. Well, I'm fucking tired of that shit.
Let me go over to you, Sin City, before we get to Matt Michaels. Would adding one more woman maybe help them out? I don't know. What's your take on this article, man? What for? You think?
So here's the thing is,
yeah.
These guys are DOA. They really just I don't think there's really anything they can do at this point to rehab them and to make things right with them. Realistically, what I would love to see is for them to get extremely meta and to come out on an episode of Raw and to throw down their masks, which this essentially will accomplish all of these things. But they need a rebranding, but they really have to burn the entire Retribution name, gimmick, not quite gimmick because we'll get to that, but the name and the identity and that kind of thing. I mean, you've got the knockoff Jason mask from Wish, you got the Predator mask. I mean, come on, guys, dude, like have them come out, throw down their masks, be like this was a bullshit storyline, and we don't agree with it, and have it go into like a work shoot, and hell, have that be another reason why Ali's pissed off. He could easily come right out and say, yeah, we've been working for this company for so long, and somebody told us that we should come out wearing these masks, that we'd be taken a whole lot more seriously, yada, yada, yada. And essentially they've got another fall guy in the office. We don't even have to see who it is. Or hell, they could beat the hell out of Adam Pearce. They've built up having Adam Pearce on TV as an on-air character. Okay, he's definitely a worker. He could take an ass beating or 3 or 4 on camera, and you could put them over as complete badasses if you really wanted to do that, by them completely shedding and dropping this name and going by their, Shane Thorne and Dio Madden and Mia Yim, like have them go by those names. Fuck it. At this point, everybody already knows who they are. It's not like it fucking means anything.
Well, Impact didn't.
Yeah, Impact didn't last week.
Well,
we had to inform him.
There's always one.
Matt Michaels, leave me alone.
You scream for Matt like he about to come save your ass. Matt
Michaels, the author the author says that these 4 things could help Retribution into helping out the storyline here. Do you see any of these as being something that could help, or you just think it's a wrap?
So, it's hard to talk on this since we covered it last week. All right, because you already know my opinion. This guy who wrote this article is missing the point. These guys are your jobbers right now. They put them under mask for a reason. They're jobbing out. See, you want to associate, oh, I know it's Mia Yim. I know it's blah, blah, blah. That's great. That's wonderful. When an actor plays a character, well, you know it's fucking Brad Pitt, right? You know it's him. But yet he goes and in his lifetime does, let's say 70 movies. You're not questioning anything. But because you feel that, these people are being done wrong or whatever, you got to look at it from a realistic aspect. What they did is basically took a guy who was already jobbing, made him the leader of the jobbers, and that's what they're doing. If they throw off their masks now, then yes, you are poisoning the careers. What you do is when this thing is over, when you've established what you wanted to get out of them and make them go away, then you have them refresh themselves back at NXT without that shit on. Prime example, the Victory Club or whatever those fucking cheerleaders were. Spirit Squad, thank you. That was horrible. And that went on for like a good year, right? Mm-hmm. And they were the top heels. They weren't just their new job. They were the big ass, put DX against these guys, right? And yet, Dolph Ziggler emerges, right? That's the thing. If you continuously think that every single fucking person on their roster should be a goddamn star out of their own name, you're wrong. Some people are perfect for having that mid to low card role to lose. And everyone's high on Mia Yim. The stupid thing that he suggested was putting another female with the group. Like, that's going to fucking do anything. There's no reason to do that. And if they were smart, just have Mia Yim fade out. Just get rid of the woman. You don't really need her right now because she's not doing anything interacting with the women. So the idea is that if one of those guys goes on to be a star, great. But if not, and you're using them right now, they're under contract. They're playing these roles. It's as simple as that. Okay. Don't look at it like I'm looking at Dijakovic. Right? Look at it like you're looking at that character that he's currently playing. He's just the person playing that. And this is a very hard thing for wrestling fans to do because we use the real fucking names most of the time. So you can't take the character that they're playing from the person that they are. So and a lot of times it meshes together, the reality blurs, and now you're mad because you like Dijakovic, but he's playing this character.
Everything you just said pretty much was summing up that you choose option number 1. They just need to win some matches.
No.
Okay.
I told you last week. The fact of the matter is that they're there to job.
I'm messing with you, Matt. I'm messing with you.
Well, besides the fact they're boring, and I'm no longer interested or engaged. And it sucks because the number one people they always tangle up with are the Hurt Business. And so now I don't even want to see the Hurt Business if they're going if I see another goddamn 4-on-4, I'm gonna throw up. Done. Tired. I won't see that shit no more.
I'm sure he's making an excellent point. You have to do it yourself.
It's like you can't get out the box.
There it is.
Hey!
Well, you can't mute me if I'm not.
Really good point.
If I'm not looking at the screen, I'm not gonna know that. I didn't know. Okay, my bad. Well, never mind.
It was very passionate what you were saying.
It was actually fascinating.
You were like,
lay it down.
Oh boy. Well, let me apologize then to our podcast listeners who's going to be wondering why I just disappeared. That was our Matt Michaels who just hit the mute button on the host. Okay. I apologize.
You earned it. You
I apologize.
earned yourself a mute.
All right, guys, that is our 3 counts. We're going to go through our final thoughts. We do thank everyone for hanging out with us. And man, so much is going on this week. Just everyone, just from my shout out to everyone is just to be safe. Definitely, if you haven't voted, definitely vote. And let's see what comes out of everything. But most importantly, let's just all try to remember to love each other. Seriously, I know those are just sometimes words that are just thrown out there that people don't pay attention to, but I think we really need that right now, period. And probably just not in our country, but just in the world in general. So that's my shout out. Let me go with the rest of the bad boys here. King Lucky, how would you like to end your portion?
Sure. So everybody check out our YouTube channel now. We've got tons of content there. Subscribe, hit the like button. Basically, we've got interviews up there. We also stream these shows to there and so much more coming. So thank you for listening. And just give us a like and subscribe on YouTube.
Perfect. Simon Street.
Pretty much goes along the same vein as what everybody else is saying. Be kind to one another. And thank you so much for supporting us. And, word of mouth is also a good method of helping us out. If you like us, man, talk about us. You'd be surprised with these holidays coming up. Good conversation about what you've been doing for COVID. You can say, hey, I've been listening to the hottest wrestling podcast, dare I say, West Coast, if not the United States, Vegas Bad Boyz podcasting. And, start that conversation and have them download the app. There you go.
All right. Sin City Steve.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Shout outs going out tonight to Shant, Tristan, Garth, and Jevin from the chat. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Also, special shout out to all of our courageous men and women serving our country overseas and everywhere, domestically as well. We appreciate everything that you guys do. So thank you so much. And special shout out to our boy, the Stormin' Mormon. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Matt Michaels.
Don't forget about Rep Sports. You missed the sponsorship, man.
Repsports.com, reppsports.com. Promo code Vegas at checkout. Save yourself 15%.
Yeah, that was easy. You know what? We can't end this without saying a really hard goodbye to Tracy Smothers. Man, that
Such
guy,
a great dude.
Yeah, that's everyone. I mean, shit. There are not any single things I've seen that have ever mentioned him and something negative.
Yeah.
he took the time for a lot of young independent wrestlers. He was a father figure, a mentor. He would be the one who, while everyone else is, trying to play their games about positioning themselves and doing this and that, Tracy Smothers would come up to you and give you advice from watching your, match, and you would never have known that he was watching your match. He was the kind of person that in a locker room, it just made things easier for people who were younger and, might have been working their first wrestling show. A lot of times when clicks happen and, people get ostracized or whatever, to have someone like him who was always a professional, and, would come in and, really just kind of give 110% of his body and his knowledge for the business that he loved. And he fought very, very valiantly, through the last, few months of his life. Just, seeing so many people post things about what he was going through, and, it's tough. Because what a lot of fans don't realize is that a guy like that is very much so what we were just talking about. He is Retribution. These are some of the most important people in the business. People who can go out there, work professionally, make you look good if you are, being given the mantle of the company, or giving the company a solid opener or a mid-card match that really just kind of sticks out, And he's also probably going to be one of the last true Southern boy characters.
Yep.
That we saw from the 80s, early 90s. And to tell you how fabulous of a performer he was, he goes and joins the Full-Blooded Italians. And that's what kind of guy he got it. He fucking understood. It made that gimmick. The FBI would have not been over to the extent it was over without a Tracy Smothers in it.
Exactly.
It was just, that's what it comes down to, man. And
Yeah.
And if you have a chance, please go on the network. Just look at some of the stuff from WCW, because it's just a good lesson. This is the kind of history if you're a young wrestler, or if you're a fan who hasn't been exposed to his work, seek it out.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you much, Matt Michaels.
I was actually just going to mention the tag team match with the Midnight Express against the Southern Boys at Great American Bash 1990 is without a doubt an amazing match, and should serve as a framework for how tag team wrestling should be done.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. We got our homework, guys. Check it out, especially if you have the network. You can go check out a good match that Tracy Smothers was in. All right. So with that, thank everyone for listening, and we will see you next week. Peace.